There is one man in this entire story who has known both Prince William and Prince Harry since they were small boys. A man who stood at the front of Westminster Abbey in September 1997 and delivered a eulogy so powerful, so raw, so directly critical of the institution sitting in the pews in front of him, that people inside the Abbey that day still talk about it as one of the most extraordinary moments in royal history. A man who made a promise that day, a promise to two grieving boys aged 15 and 12 that he would always look after them. His name is Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer, Princess Diana's younger brother, William and Harry's uncle, and in the years since that funeral he has occupied a position that almost nobody else in this entire story holds. He is connected to both brothers. He is trusted at different times and in different ways by both of them. And as William and Harry's relationship has fractured, publicly, painfully, in ways that have dominated headlines for half a decade, Charles Spencer has remained quietly in the background. The one bridge between two brothers who otherwise barely speak. Tonight we are telling the full, verified story of the Spencer family's role in this entire saga. Earl Spencer's relationship with both William and Harry. The attempts, some public, some private, to use that relationship to repair the broken bond between two brothers. And what all of it tells us about whether there is any realistic path back to a relationship between William, Harry, and the family that Meghan married into. This is Royal Report Daily, and tonight we are talking about the family behind the family. Welcome to Royal Report Daily, your #1 destination for real royal news, verified investigations, and the stories the palace doesn't want you to find. I'm your host, and if you are new here, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because what we cover on this channel, you will not find anywhere else. Every single week we go deeper, we go further, and we go to places the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Tonight is one of those nights. Let's get into it. Let us start with September 6, 1997, the funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales. Inside Westminster Abbey, in front of the Queen, in front of senior members of the royal family, in front of a television audience estimated at over 2 billion people worldwide, Charles Spencer stood at the lectern and delivered a eulogy for his sister. And he did something that nobody in that abbey expected. He used the eulogy to make a pointed public statement about the family Diana had married into. He spoke about Diana's blood family, the Spencers, promising to continue what he called the imaginative, loving way she was steering her two children. He said, "On behalf of your mother and sisters, I pledge that we, your blood family, will do all we can to continue the imaginative and loving way in which you were steering these two exceptional young men, so that their souls are not simply immersed by duty and tradition, but can sing openly as you planned." Inside that one sentence was an extraordinary public statement, a direct, audible suggestion that the Spencer family, not just the Windsor family, would have a role in raising William and Harry. It was widely interpreted, at the time and since, as a veiled criticism of how the royal family had treated Diana, and a promise that her own blood relatives would step in to protect her sons from what she had experienced. Charles Spencer was 33 years old. His sister was dead, and in front of the world he made a promise to two boys who had just lost their mother. If you want to understand how that promise shaped everything that followed, subscribe to Royal Report Daily right now. Because what comes next is the story of how that promise was kept. For years after the funeral, Charles Spencer maintained a relationship with both William and Harry that operated largely outside the public eye. He was, in the words of royal expert Ian Pelham-Turner speaking to Fox News in 2024, someone who has played the role of an honorary godfather to both boys in the years since the death of their mother. This is a documented, verified characterization that appears across multiple royal biographies and reports. Spencer's home, Althorp House in Northamptonshire, the Spencer family's ancestral estate, and the place where Diana herself grew up and is buried, became a place both princes could visit, a connection to their mother's world, a place that existed entirely outside the formal structures of Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace. And this relationship was not symbolic. It was active. In 2018, as William grew increasingly concerned about the speed of Harry's relationship with Meghan Markle, Something happened that has been documented in Robert Lacey's book, Battle of Brothers, a detailed account of the relationship between the two princes. According to Lacey's reporting, after William confronted Harry directly about the pace of his relationship with Meghan and received what Lacey described as a brusque and offended pushback, William turned to Charles Spencer for help. The book describes how Diana's brother, who had played something of an honorary godfather role to both boys since their mother's death, agreed with William to see what he could do. Think about what that moment represents. William, worried about his brother, did not go to his father. He did not go to the palace machinery. He went to his mother's brother, the one person connected to both of them through blood rather than through the institution. That single decision tells you everything about where Spencer sits in this family's emotional landscape. Like this video right now, if this story is showing you a side of this family you have never seen connected together before. And subscribe to Royal Report Daily, because what comes next is about what happened after Harry and Meghan's relationship with the institution collapsed. Now let us fast forward. By 2020, Harry and Meghan had stepped back from royal duties. By 2021, the Oprah interview had aired. By 2023, Spare had been published, Harry's memoir in which he wrote candidly about his relationship with William, with his father, and with the institution as a whole. The brothers' relationship, by every documented account, had reached its lowest point. They attended Queen Elizabeth's funeral in September 2022 and, according to multiple reports, did not speak. They attended King Charles's coronation in May 2023 and again did not engage with each other in any meaningful way. And throughout all of this, the Spencer family remained connected to Harry in a way that the Windsor family largely did not. In August 2024, Lord Robert Fellowes, who had been married to Lady Jane Fellowes, one of Diana's older sisters, and who had served as the Queen's private secretary during some of the most difficult years of her reign, passed away. Both William and Harry attended his funeral. It was the first time the brothers had been in the same room since the coronation 15 months earlier. And according to Fox News reporting from September 2024, immediately following that funeral, Harry traveled to Althorp House and stayed with his uncle, Earl Charles Spencer. Royal expert Ian Pelham-Turner told Fox News at the time, Earl Spencer promised at the funeral of his sister Diana to constantly look after his nephews William and Harry. It is no surprise to me that Harry stayed at Althorp recently because they have been very close since that time. Harry can rely upon Earl Spencer. And no doubt, behind the scenes, the Earl has been trying to build bridges with the brothers. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily and turn on notifications, because what comes next is about whether any of these bridge-building efforts have actually worked. And the honest answer is more complicated than you might expect. Here is where we need to be completely honest. Because despite everything we have just described, the eulogy, the promise, the godfather role, the 2018 intervention, the post-funeral stay at Althorp, the relationship between William and Harry remains, as of 2026, deeply estranged. Earl Spencer's efforts, whatever they have been, have not produced a public reconciliation. The brothers have not appeared together at any major event since 2023. Harry has described his father as someone who, in 2025, would not speak to him over what Harry called this security stuff. He told the BBC, "This, at the heart of it, is a family dispute." And in that same interview, Harry expressed something that connects directly back to where this story began. He said he wants reconciliation with his family, not vindication. Not victory in any ongoing dispute. Reconciliation. The same word that could describe what Charles Spencer has reportedly been trying to facilitate for years. The gap between wanting reconciliation and achieving it is the entire story of this family since 2020. And Earl Spencer, despite his unique position, despite his connection to both brothers, despite the promise he made in 1997, has not been able to close that gap. Which raises an honest question. Is the estrangement between William and Harry now so deep, so layered with public statements, books, interviews, and years of accumulated grievance on both sides, that even someone as uniquely positioned as Charles Spencer cannot bridge it? Now let us talk about something else that connects this entire story together, because there is one more thread that ties Diana's legacy directly to Meghan and Harry's choices. and it is a thread that involves names. When Archie was born in 2019, Harry and Meghan made a decision that was, at the time, widely reported as a break from royal convention. They did not publicly name Archie's godparents. This was unusual. Royal christenings traditionally involve public announcements of godparents, people chosen specifically for their connection to the family and their role in the child's life. Harry and Meghan kept that information private. It was only later revealed, by Town and Country in reporting connected to a society wedding in 2024, that one of Archie's godparents is Hugh Grosvenor, the 7th Duke of Westminster. The Grosvenor family's relationship with the royal family goes back decades, and Hugh Grosvenor himself is close to Prince William. The two attended events together as recently as 2018. This detail matters, because it shows something important about Harry's choices, even after leaving the royal family. Even in choosing godparents for his son, one of the most personal decisions a parent makes, Harry maintained connections to people deeply embedded in the world he had supposedly left behind. The Duke of Westminster is not a Spencer. He is not part of Diana's blood family. He is part of the world of British aristocracy that intersects with, but is distinct from, both the Windsors and the Spencers. And his presence as Archie's godfather is a reminder that even Harry's most private family decisions exist within a web of relationships that span his entire life. The royal world, the aristocratic world, and his mother's world all at once. Now let us bring this all together, because the picture that emerges from tonight's investigation is more nuanced than the simple narrative of broken brothers and an absent extended family. Charles Spencer made a promise in 1997 in front of the world to look after his sister's sons. The documented evidence suggests he has, in various ways, tried to keep that promise. He has been a presence in both William's and Harry's lives at different points. He was called upon by William in 2018 when William was worried about his brother. He hosted Harry at Althorp in 2024 after the brothers' painful, silent encounter at their uncle's funeral. He has been described by royal experts as actively trying to build bridges between the two men he has known since they were children. And yet, the estrangement persists. Because the rupture between William and Harry is not, at its core, about Earl Spencer's efforts, or any individual's efforts. It is about years of accumulated hurt, public statements that cannot be unsaid, books that have been published and read by millions, interviews that revealed private conversations to the world, and two adult men who have built lives and identities that are now defined partly in opposition to each other. Charles Spencer can open the door at Althorp. He can offer Harry a place to stay after a difficult funeral. He can speak to William when William is worried. But he cannot make two grown men choose reconciliation if they are not themselves ready to choose it. What he can do, and what the documented evidence suggests he has consistently done, is keep the door open. Keep the connection alive. Make sure that whatever distance exists between the brothers, there remains at least one person connected to both of them through their mother's blood who has never stopped trying. Here is what this story tells us ultimately about Diana's legacy. She died in 1997. Her sons were 15 and 12. And in the immediate aftermath of her death, her brother stood up in front of the world and made a promise that her family would not let her sons disappear into an institution that, in his view, had failed her. 29 years later, those two boys are grown men. One is the future King of England. The other lives in California with his American wife and two children who carry their grandmother's name and nickname. They do not speak. Their relationship has been the subject of books, documentaries, and endless public speculation. But somewhere in the background, quietly, without headlines, without public statements, an uncle who made a promise to a dying sister's memory has spent nearly 3 decades trying to keep that promise alive. Whether he succeeds, whether William and Harry ever find their way back to each other, is not something Charles Spencer can control. But the fact that he is still trying, the fact that both brothers still, in their own ways, maintain a connection to him, the fact that Althorp House, where Diana is buried, remains a place both princes can go, says something important. The bridge is still standing. Whether anyone walks across it is up to the two men on either side. This is Royal Report Daily, and we will be here when, or if, they finally do. That is all for tonight's investigation on Royal Report Daily. If this video made you think, made you feel, or made you see this story differently, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything to this channel. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on notifications, because we post new investigations every week, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Share this video with one person who follows the royal story, because the more people who know the real truth, the better. I'm your host. This has been Royal Report Daily. Stay informed, stay royal, and I will see you in the next one. He made a promise at her funeral. He has spent 29 years trying to keep it. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily, and be here for the next chapter of this family's story.